everybody. I know you were expecting my grandson, Timmy, but he's a little busy right now, so I'm going to fill in for him. My name is Grandma Gertrude, and I have a story to tell you. But first, did you know, in Bible times, people used the roof of the house for more than keeping out the rain. During the summer, families might sleep on the roof to take advantage of the cool night air. They dried grain and fruit on the roof, stored tools there, and even went up on the roof to pray. God told his people to make a low wall around the roof so people wouldn't fall off. And today's story has a lot to do with a roof. So, in Luke 5:17 through 26, that's where our story starts. Let's learn about the men who brought their friend to Jesus for healing. Let's pretend that this was the room where Jesus was in. This place was packed with people who'd come to hear Jesus teach and preach and to see if he'd perform a miracle or two, maybe even to heal somebody. It was so packed that, well, imagine being shoulder to shoulder with someone. Now that's crowded. The place was so crowded because everyone wanted to see Jesus. Well, there were these guys who had a buddy. The buddy was on a sort of stretcher, a mat. That's because he couldn't walk. I don't know what had happened to the guy, but he wasn't getting better. He was paralyzed. That means he couldn't move at all. The man needed friends to help him. The Bible tells us that the paralyzed man needed his friends to bring him to Jesus. They were good friends to take him to Jesus because Jesus is our friend. He does amazing things. With so many people trying to see Jesus, there was no way the friends carrying a stretcher could make it through the door. They couldn't even get close. But these guys were going to be sure their buddy saw Jesus. Period. Here's what they did. They found the stairs up to the roof, and when they got up there, they started digging right through the roof. When the hole was big enough, the friends lowered the mat right down to where Jesus was standing. Boy, those were some good friends. They were willing to get in trouble to make sure their buddy met Jesus. They took him to Jesus, and that's great. Maybe you have some good friends too. I know Timmy has lots of good friends. Maybe your friend got you a brand new video game and loaned it to you, even though they hadn't played it yet. Or maybe you had a friend whose family went on vacation and she could take a buddy with her to Disneyland, and she chose you. Well, when the men lowered their friend to Jesus, Jesus saw how much faith the friends had. He knelt down and said to the paralyzed man, "Friend, your sins are forgiven." That made the teachers of the law. They were in the audience right toward the front in the good seats. Sit up and take notice. They said, "Hey, wait a minute. Only God can forgive sins. If Jesus is forgiving sins, then that means he thinks he's God or something." Jesus knew what they were thinking. Jesus said, "Which do you think is easier for me, to forgive this man's sins or to heal him? Tell you what, I'll do both, so you know I am who I say I am." Jesus looked at the paralyzed man and said, "Get up, take your mat, and go home." The paralyzed man lay there, and he could wiggle his toes. He could wiggle his fingers. He sat up, his legs were working, and his arms were working, and he stood up. His body worked perfectly. The friends on the roof were probably celebrating. Yeah, Jesus healed this guy. Now the guy with the mat didn't just go home. He went home jumping around and praising God and showing everyone how his feet worked. He was one happy ex-paralyzed guy, I'll tell you that. Jesus was his friend, big time. He forgave his sins and made him walk. friend, we're never alone. We can do all kinds of things like love others and tell others about Jesus. Jesus is always with us.